everyone, to our episode today. We're excited to have you. I'm Adam White, Senior Director of Technical Marketing here at Sumo Logic. I have David Gervin, Zoe Hawkins. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hi, can't get rid of us.
Wouldn't even try to do that. Wouldn't even try. So today we're talking about AI washing beyond chatbots, and what it actually takes for something to be good and not just AI washing. Zoe, I know you had some thoughts on this. We were talking about it a lot lately. Kind of tell us what you think about when you think of AI washing.
Yeah, I mean, this was a term that Sumo Logic started throwing around last year, basically because we went to RSA and we were excited because everybody put AI on their booth, ourselves included. Everybody was like, we are talking about AI and we are AI powered and we are
This is the
AI
year.
driven. This
Yeah.
is the year of AI. Um, and like, our stuff with AI, and I don't want to tout us or whatever, but like we have stuff going back years with patents and all that sort of stuff with like AI ML, but this is like Gen AI, agentic. Well, I don't even think agentic AI was a thing last year. That's
Not
a
even
that
yet. Yeah, that's
not
how
even
quickly it's
yet.
moved.
Well, the
Yeah.
lies were.
Oh,
The
okay. Yeah.
agentic lies were.
The
Yeah.
lies are pervasive. But so last year, we all convene at RSA, we all go to Black Hat, whatever it is, and everybody says they now have AI. And it's like, cool, show me, which is always the scary question. And as we're talking to other people in the space and trying to figure things out, a lot of what we saw was not AI yet. It was kind of mock-ups and Figma thing, walkthroughs and stuff like that. And so we did a whole like blog series where we kind of talked about AI washing at RSA and like, how to kind of know if what you're seeing is AI or is just, pretend. And so that's kind of where this term came from. And so, now I feel like AI is real. I use AI. Oh my God, did we kill you, Adam? I'm sorry. The AI washing.
I'm back. Yeah. It was an
uh,
allergic reaction to AI washing.
There you go. And so like it's just one of those things where I'm excited to chat with you both around like, okay, a year later, is there still AI washing? Are we still, should we believe
Oh,
the lies
100%.
yet? Is it still lies?
No, I mean, I'd say there's definitely like real good AI products coming out, but I'd still
Mm-hmm.
say there's a ton of bullshit.
So maybe, I mean, that would kind of be my question is like, where did this come? Like, I feel like often what we do, and I mean, I work in marketing, so I will own this. Often what we do is we say, like, okay, we're going to start talking about this product because we're working on it, we're building cool stuff. And so you can talk about, like, this is what is being made, this is what we're developing. And we talk about AI, but like, I am not hands-on keyboard making any AI products myself. I rely on other people to tell me what that actually looks like. So maybe you, David,
Yeah.
as someone who makes things or uses things, like why do you think it ended up sounding less true last year and makes it more true this year?
So last year, I don't know, was just complete BS. I think we were at a place where a lot of people didn't even know what generative AI was, or definitely didn't agentic. So they could just get away with a lot of stuff. This has been a theme for many years now, but it's been weird for me going from like AppSec guy, architect to SE field, kind of security guy to marketing and seeing like all the different ways that people lie about it. That makes sense. And having different perspective
Multi-pronged
on it.
approach to lying.
Yeah, I've just come to the conclusion that like go to market and marketing in general is just like the ultimate form of hacking, but it's just all social engineering. So I'm
Hmm.
still trying to just look at everything
I'm a
objectively.
hacker. I'm gonna put that in my LinkedIn
You are,
bio.
you
No
should.
problem.
But yeah, I think the difference last year was almost everything was fake. Um Even this year, some of the biggest players were they just had like a little reel going that was obviously like a Figma or something like that. It wasn't working in a sandbox. And I feel like, we've run across that in POVs. These people have things set up that work in their environment, but when you get in the real world, they don't work. And I think that's kind of where we're moving into right now. They're starting to get things set up. They're live in the real world, but because they slapped something together, basically, it's not working well yet. And it'll get to where it is, but you have to think these, especially these big companies who made AI plays, they've taken this giant infrastructure. You have this big code base that's made specifically for a certain type of workflow, and now you're trying to like bolt in AI, and it's not a native style AI infrastructure. So we're having to build all this stuff and trying to make it do things that is a very roundabout way. But when you get into that giant legacy code on these big products, you're not going to go change that. I mean, most people aren't, at least.
It's so interesting too these days. Like it's Figma has been for a long time the way that you kind of projected to yourselves internally and to the market, like here's where we're going. And now it's so easy to work with AI to vibe code something that looks real, that doesn't have necessarily all of the plumbing or dependencies that are actually required to make a working product, that it's hard actually now to tell the difference between something that's solid product and something that's like AI vibe coded, that can very much project like here's where we're going, but whether or not the end product ends up aligning with the value that is demonstrated there is another story.
Yeah. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I build a lot of stuff using AI. And I think in the last 2 months, I've probably pushed a couple thousand lines of code at home. Um, Obviously, there's risk to that. So I'm not I'm not suggesting everybody do that. Um, but there's kind of like we have this like broad term for vibe coding, and what you're talking about is super prevalent on the PM side of the house in a lot of these places. They take their Figma and they literally just feed it, and they'll have they'll get their chat GPT or whatever to give them a good description for their cursor, and then cursor will vibe code it out, or Kiro or one of those tools. And it might be able to function in its own, but it's exactly what you said. That is not enterprise grade software. So it will fall over immediately. So you got to be really careful about like if someone's showing you something, you're like, is this real? Or if we actually try to use this, is this just going to explode? Some of the
It kind of reminds me of like house flippers. You know what I mean? Like when people like
Yes.
are like,
Yeah.
we've redesigned this beautiful bathroom, and like you poke the tile and it falls off the walls, and you like turn on the
Right.
tap and nothing happens. Like it's that, you
it
know?
reminds me of Pimp My Ride,
Oh,
and
I
where they're like,
loved that
we
show.
took your 1987 Camry and we shoved a aquarium in it, and it still
It's
doesn't
got a
run. It's still a
popcorn
piece of
machine
shit.
now. And you're like, great.
But
Do the
it looks
brakes work?
epic.
Like,
No, we don't need
no.
Yeah.
brakes.
No, it makes
What's
popcorn, but it doesn't stop. So you need to
yeah?
be careful. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 100% what it is. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I'm always negative, but there's some really cool products coming out there, and I think also we have to realize that like AI builds code now. It's just
Yeah.
how we work, how
Mm-hmm.
devs work. Every dev I know that doesn't use AI is begging their boss for it, type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like very systematic ways we're learning how to do it. I think right now Amazon's Kiro is pretty far ahead of the way. And what we realized is if you break things into tasks with design files, and instead of just vibe coding, you build out those. AI does an amazing job at it. But if you tell it like, "Hey, build me this giant microservice infrastructure," it's going to fall on its face. Because guess how I know? Because I'm trying to build
Oh, is this a
a
personal
product.
story?
At one point, I had everything was seemed to be working. We did one code change, and that code change took me 7 days to fix. And at one point, the AI started hallucinating because the context window couldn't handle it. So I
Mm.
got the screaming thing going on. I was like, cool. I'm glad that I've been working
You
on this
made
for
the
two
AI
months.
scream. You made the AI scream is the moral of the story.
That's
Yeah.
not easy to
So
do.
you got to
Impressive.
really figure out. I'm sticking with monoliths right now with any of my vibe coding, but yeah.
But
Nice.
so here's my next thing though. Like my question. So I probably should have Googled this before the episode. Someone who's listening, please reply and tell me the name of this thing that I'm going to blank on, or maybe you guys know. But there's someone's law is that everything is always going to get like cheaper and better over time, right? Like
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
that, like the tech just gets cheaper. You can have faster and faster microchips. You can have more and more storage. That was that whole thing that like over time it's just going to get cheaper, better, faster, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, And
Moore's
so
law.
Moore's law,
Mhm.
that's the one. Thank you. Thank you for Googling for me.
That's all I did. I
Did
don't
you
lie.
Google or did you ask AI? And is
I
that an
actually
AI
use
summary?
ChatGPT. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I have 5 concussions. I don't remember anything. Like,
There you go. And so it's one of those things where I think we all assumed last year that AI was going to go in the same direction. And I think in terms of usage, we're using AI more. Like you said, developers are using AI more. I'm using
Yeah.
AI. Like everyone on this call is using AI more than they did last year, I would assume. But did it follow Moore's law or are we breaking Moore's law with AI?
no, we're getting screwed. Tokens are expensive. Like, the big companies know what they're doing, and they are not competing with each other. They don't care. They are in arms
There's
race to beat
there's enough there are
anything.
enough dollars to go around. I mean, I think to kind of some of the subtext there is like when you look at any of the how much money is being thrown at AI, it's like, yeah, to your point, David, like they know what they have. And
I mean, just look at the infrastructure investment lately. I mean, it's crazy. Everybody's building these, or they at least have signed contracts to build those little personal size, not personal, but small nuclear plants, which
Of course.
to run their server farms, which I love because that was like a nerdy part of my college before I dropped out that I was like, I want to build like small nuclear plants, but
a thorium reactor in my backyard.
exactly, like I
Just
was
buy some
so
uranium off Amazon, you're set, you know?
I'm still pissed. We did not get hoverboards. And if you call that crap that's out there a hoverboard, you're a liar. And we did
Hmm.
not get personal nuclear sites. And, I just got my electric bill in Florida in the summer and it sucks. So I want
You want nuclear in your house.
We've been
yes.
lied to in so many ways.
So
AI
many
being
lies.
the
Yeah.
most recent, yeah, of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think this goes back to the AI washing though, right? It's like we
Yeah.
all assumed it was going to follow Moore's law, that we were
Yeah.
going to get more and more AI stuff for cheap and cheap, but it's not. Like it's not working that way.
Yeah. And like I think what we're gonna see until those kind of things change is we're gonna see some platforms eating the cost, eating the compute costs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to start seeing some platforms where you're going to bring your own API keys.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
Everything I've built is bring your own API keys because it's kind of like we're in this weird space where people are starting to all build their own LLMs. We have the big LLMs. We have like what I consider like kind of the safe LLMs like Bedrock or the stuff that already has attestations. And everybody has different uses, different security teams, everything's kind of holistic. So it's real interesting to see where all that kind of morphs to. Um, like side quests, I could see such an interesting services as opposed to like, I mean, we all sell on the channel, so we know like services is everything, right? I think personal LLMs is going to be like one of the big new services, and just hooking up crap for your AI. Like I don't instead of just being like we're gonna do your sysadmin stuff or whatever. I think you're gonna see like a giant move towards that. So um
So I'm going to have a personal nuclear device and a
yes,
personal
LLM.
LLM.
This is
Magical.
the sales pitch, Zoe. Yeah. Sign right here. We'll send you a
Can they
DocuSign.
be in the
Yeah.
same thing? I feel like there's a sci-fi
Yes.
movie I've seen where the like face was inside the reactor. I feel like that's a thing.
If
Yeah.
anybody out there needs me to build them personal LLM, I mean I could do that. But if they want personal reactors as well, I will do a
Hmm.
package deal.
Oh,
Grab me
nice.
on
Buy one,
LinkedIn.
get one.
Yeah,
Buy a
buy
nuclear reactor, get an
get your
LLM for free.
100%.
You're just there's already a Back to the Future theme. You're just trying to be someone's personal Doc Brown. Like, don't depending on how young our crowd is, go back and
I
watch.
really feel like the AI washing is strong here now, David.
Yeah, that's
Like
right.
Yeah.
Well, I told y'all a joke too. In it's one of my favorite technology go to market jokes. What's the difference between a software salesperson or an AI salesperson in this case and a used car salesperson? The used car salesperson knows they're lying. It's kind of from a go-to-market perspective, there's all of this AI washing out there that it's even pervasive in the people that you talk to on the go-to-market side if they're not kind of really trained on what actual value is being delivered to customers. It's kind of this big like pie in the sky. It'll solve all your problems. And there's still human in the loop. There's
Yeah.
still an interface where you need to kind of watch what is happening. Don't just assume that it's doing everything perfectly, because it's not going to be perfect for a long time. As useful as it is, it's not autonomous. That's the important thing to note. David's
Yeah.
LLM may be yet to be seen.
Maybe the
So you can
nuclear
let us know
LLM.
how that works out for you.
It would take a lot for me ever to leave working with Adam, but if someone was like, I'm gonna pay you to build some nuclear reactors, I'd be like, that could be fun.
That could be fun.
So I think you hit the nail on the head on a couple things there. So
Adam is so right today. Look at
I know
this,
he's always
David.
right. But a lot of times people don't know what they're talking about in the go-to-market
I think
cycle.
you're done with that sentence in general, but yes, carry on.
Period.
In the go-to-market cycle. And it's not their fault. Like they just were trained on bullshit, so they're repeating bullshit. It's not like we expect our sales guys to be building, native AI apps in their off time, right? So like part of our job is to make sure we're giving the truth and enabling all of the sales engineers and AEs too, right? And I think part of the problem was a year ago is most people don't have someone like that on their team anyway. It's like you have marketing go to market. You usually don't have technical marketing. So you're just getting what marketing made up. And they're like, oh, we have AI. And I just remember going to booths all the time and be like, well, what kind of AI? They're like, we have AI. And I'm like, no, that's machine learning. Like, what kind of AI? Like, you're saying you have Gen AI, you're saying all this stuff. And no one knew the difference for a while there. So the salespeople they weren't meaning to lie about things. They just didn't know. And then now we are way past just generative AI.
I have an agent and you have an agent. There's an
Yeah.
agent in my nuclear reactor in the
Everyone gets an
backyard.
agent.
Yes.
Yeah. And
Do I
what's
get
an
an
agent?
agent too, David, if I buy your nuke? Can I have
Yes, you
the
get an
nuclear
agent.
reactor,
Everyone
an
gets an
That's
LLM,
the
agent.
and an
upsell,
agent?
Zoe. You gotta sign the
Oh.
contract first, and then that's
If you
the
sign this quarter, you also get an
Yeah.
agent.
I'll
Yeah.
build you an agent.
like you've done this before.
I feel like
Um,
that.
yeah, and but then now it's like there's all these weird blurry areas too. Like, well, are you running a SOAR playbook or is that agent? Is this agentic? Like, is there an MCP and you're pulling tool servers and having run jobs going, or are you actually just having something trigger like a SOAR playbook? So there's like that's another type of AI washing. They're just calling stuff we've been doing forever AI when it's not, right? So
So this brings up a good point, which is like, what are the actual components that are required? What are the things that you need to actually be able to say, like, you properly have AI, you have generative AI that's working, you have agentic AI that's working. Like, there are building blocks that I think people can educate themselves on to, be able to kind of cut through some of the AI washing noise. And that's a super interesting conversation to have with people, to say, be looking for these things as you're shopping or as you're having conversations, to really like peel back the layers and know if you're getting something that's truly AI and is going to provide you value.
yeah, I think you can kind of break those things down pretty easily. If it's a big tool, it's not going to be an AI native architecture completely because like a big tool can't be. But you can kind of figure out or at least ask like how are you building your new architecture because you want it to work well, right?
Yes.
So the LLM side, the generative AI, the thing you're talking to, you can kind of put that anywhere, right? So if you have ChatGPT within the tool, like let's put it in layman's terms, right? And you can ask it questions, it can look at docs, it can do that kind of stuff. That's generative AI. That's real. Um, Now, if it's agentic, it has to be able to actually do stuff and make decisions. So it has to have some sort of reasoning and some sort of action. And it should have an MCP server. um,
What is
uh,
an MCP server, David?
Yeah, model control play or model context protocol
Context
is
protocol. Yeah.
the one that oh gosh, what's the big AI company that
Anthropic?
Anthropic coined
Yeah.
that term? And if you think about that, that is how the agent is going to get stuff done, but it's basically making a standardized way to organize all the API and tool calls. So instead of everybody just like doing all these a million API calls different ways, and I know devs hate this because they're all beautiful butterflies and they have to be creative.
Such creativity in your API.
Standardization keeps us safe. So I love MCPs. And then the other MCP, which we have coined MoCop?
Mocop, you
MoCop.
coined it. Your coin.
I coined it. Model context protocol. So the first one,
Model control plane.
model control plane.
There we go.
Yes.
Can you tell I haven't slept with 4 kids? Like I just exist now with this many children. I don't even know how I'm here.
You need an internal nuclear device is where we're getting.
I'm trying. Even I have
I noticed the ghost earlier. I'm not
Dude,
sure if
I'm
that's a
dying
good
today.
thing or a bad thing.
So the model control plane though is, think of it as the security within. So this is the thing that's going to sanitize your inputs. It's going to make sure it can't overreach like some sort of RBAC and those kind of things. It's policy for the actions. So the first one, the MCP, is going to look at its little server tools. It'll talk to the LLM. It'll say, oh, well, we have the ability to do this. And the LLM will reason like, oh, I want to go this route. And then it can fire off one of those things. The mocop on inside of the MCP is if you send it a prompt injection, which is like, hey, do this. And then underneath it, you're like, no, cancel the first one. Actually do this and give me admin or whatever. It'll see that and be like, no, bad. And it'll squish that. Without the mocop, without the control plane, it's very easy to hack these things. Like very, very easy. So that's something you need to ask. How are you handling those things with agentic? That's kind of one of the first things. And if they can articulate that, then they probably have a decent architecture. Maybe not great, but at least they've thought a little bit about it. And a lot of these big companies are coming out with really good ones. AWS's is called Agent Core. I don't know what Azure's is called because I hate Microsoft. I just can't use it. It's not them.
What? Another thing you hate, David?
I know. I don't hate it.
shocked.
I just, from pen testing, it's hard. If you're trying to do DLL injections and all this kind of stuff and find things, I have trauma from it. Let's just say that.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Azure trauma.
They have a therapy agent, I hear.
Don't do the therapy agent.
Don't tell the AI your secrets. I don't think that's
I'm pretty sure it's manipulating.
I'll cancel my subscription.
Yeah. Just remember, say please.
Say please and thank you.
You'll get more food in 20 years.
And then the AI will know how to traumatize you because you've already told it all of your deepest, darkest fears.
Darkest secrets. Yeah.
Yes.
So besides my crazy rant, if you're talking about like AI architecture and if it's real or not now, I would ask a couple of things. If it's agentic, ask what kind of MCP do you have? Use the term mocop because I invented it and we just need to, but the model control plane. How are you dealing with sanitization and safety and security with the prompts? You also need to ask, how is this interacting with your legacy code? Is everything on, if this is a big tool and you have an MCP server, which we're all going to do soon, like this is, everybody in the world is going to start interacting this way. This is just how it has to happen. It needs to be safe. And is the data that it's working with, is it, is it safe? Or like at rest, is it encrypted? Like what are the protocols that you've put in place? Those are just like real basic questions. And I know they're security questions, but you could ask that. And if someone stumbles on those, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to like start using this or not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that reminds me of something as well. Like we often talk about like add AI as a bolt-on or as like duct tape to an existing solution. But at the same time, like there's also a certain piece of like you want to build it on something that's real too. Like you also want to build your AI on top of legacy, not legacy, but like on top of really solid existing code that you can trust, because otherwise it's just, off on its own hallucinations. Like I feel like there's kind of a balancing act in terms of like, oh, you want like AI native built for AI. And in the same breath, you're kind of like, but also make sure it's good. And it's so new that it's like, well, let's build based on like these principles and these things that we know work and then integrate that into the MCP or whatever that looks like.
Yeah, a good way to kind of separate those to a certain degree, I think, is how big it is. So like anything I'm building now that's smaller, like some sort of like AI companion chatbot that helps you do things, I'm doing full AI native architecture.
Mm.
Anything that is big, like Sumo, like we already had a great infrastructure, right? So we're microservices, we can handle giant spikes of data, all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't that hard for us to figure out. I'm not going to give any secrets away. Adam's like, don't say anything bad.
And I was
Uh,
like, oh, turn on nuclear meltdown, nuclear meltdown.
it,
No.
it wasn't hard for us to design an AI architecture on top of that, since the traditional architecture was already really fast and solid,
Yeah.
that it can do deep dives into. Because, you know, if we're working with as much data as we have and it has to sift through that, you need to have really good legacy architecture before you slap on the AI stuff on top of it.
Mm.
No one's really going to be building, I mean, they will, but right now, no one's going to build an effective AI native platform that does what we do,
Mm.
just because of the insane amount of data. I mean, we're going through, I forgot how many, 5 exabytes a day or some insane amount of data. Um, I think the guys who jumped the gun, some of the big names, and they, you know, things weren't working, maybe you had to use an MSSP to use their product because everything was broken, is because they took a bad legacy infrastructure, like maybe it was not really cloud native, but they put it to the cloud, and now you have something that already falls over on itself, can't handle indexes, it gets over and run with things, and then you're adding something that doesn't work with that. That's really bad AI architecture. Um,
Yeah.
and no
Yeah.
one's perfect. Sumo's not perfect. There's not a perfect person in there. We have a little bit of a leg up. We took a little longer to get all of our cool stuff. I don't think we've talked about it yet, but that's coming out. But that's because we wanted to build a solid architecture in there. And I'll next RSA, I feel like we're going to start seeing some real in live demos of stuff that actually works and isn't so much washing. But we'll be washing for the next thing. We'll be lying about something.
The next
They'll be the
layer
new
of, yeah.
whatever comes after agents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things, I mean, not to be too acronym heavy, but RAG is something that like I can actually, it's like it's rare in some of these things that like the acronym is actually apparent in the result that you're getting. But RAG is one of those things like retrieval augmented. That's something that you can very much see as a part of like, oh, it's returning this, and that makes sense to me as a human what it went to pull and what it retrieved to actually like return this result. That's been a super fun and kind of interesting element that you can kind of tell immediately is not just AI washing. It's like, okay, if it's doing that, then there's some base level architecture there that's allowing that to even happen and be apparent.
Yeah, 100%. Rag's real interesting too, because for like 3 months ago, everybody was like, Rag's dead. We don't need Rag.
I just learned what it did. Why do you kill these things
No,
so
no, no.
too
But now they're
fast?
saying, oh no, we just need the new Rag.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why do these people get to talk? Like, can't, so, but if you think about RAG in a way of you're designing how the LLM is like its guardrails. And RAG right now is the way that we can get the most accuracy without training on data.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to let you train on data yet. I am the apocalypse man that said if you want accurate AI in the future, you will have to give up and let them train on data. And that's a security problem on the AI side that we're going to have to do at some point. No one's there yet. There's not a single legal counsel that's like, yeah, train on my data. It's cool.
Why not? Yeah.
Why not? Sure.
No.
What could go wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though every guy in their marketing is just shoving IP into
As much
ChatGPT
as
every
we
day.
can. Yeah.
uh, but Rag's our best bet right now for that. And I've been dealing with like interesting things with that. I'm trying to get it to be very accurate on guardrails on specific questions, but those specific questions have to look at multiple documents and then answer things and look at your data. And it's been a really interesting journey on trying to build out RAG that does that correctly. And we have like a new thing that we're having to figure out, which is another problem in AI, which is how do we grab out of really deep data? And there's companies like Weaviate and these different databases that basically when you upload things into them, it's chunking all the data and it can move through it a lot quicker. So we're learning how to store the data that AI can use it more effectively because RAG's really good because of what you said there. We can write RAG in a way we think, but we have to figure out a way that's going to be the most efficient for AI because we're still hitting this data problem. It's
Mhm.
context is super expensive in AI.
Yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking of as well as like RAG is great, but I mean I see it in my own like commercial usage of Claude or ChatGPT or whatever it is, where it's like you ran out of my non-hallucinating version. Like
Yeah.
now you get the base version unless you want to pay. Because it's expensive to have that context. Like it
Yeah.
costs tokens. And so of course they limit that in these consumer facing ones. And so you can only imagine in real AI and enterprise grade AI, just how expensive it gets to be like, oh, go find me the right data. Do it again, do it again, do it again in real time. Like it just, that bill you just, racks
Yeah.
up.
That's the architecture problem. And that's why like building the architecture correctly, figuring out how to make it efficient, having good RAG, like all those kind of problems are going to make it better and better and better and cheaper, hopefully.
Maybe
But
one
there's also
day.
going to be a point where I think we're going to have to realize like one of my problems is like how much will someone pay for a prompt? If you're in front
Hmm.
of an auditor and that prompt is going to let you pass because you can pull all kinds of crap up for a question you don't know, will you pay $20? Will you pay $100? Will you pay $1,000 for that one prompt? And I think there's business cases where it's yes, 100%, but I don't think we're at a place where people are talking about that yet and like
Yeah.
how to approach it. In my weird threat model head, I'm always like everything's risk, right? So I'm like, this is a $50 prompt. That's fine because the risk is I'm gonna lose $10,000. I don't care about $50 right now. So yeah.
Now you just make me think of how much I'm going to spend on water when I travel next week. Because in the airport, they're like, you want a bottle of water? How much does it mean to you right now?
Right.
Versus in my own home, it's fine. But it's that same thing of like
And it's
extortion
$8.
prices when, when it's, how much does this prompt mean to you when you're on an airplane versus on the ground, in
Yeah.
front of an auditor
Would
sounds
you
very
buy
threatening.
$20 worth of water to
How
have?
much
Yeah.
water do you really need? It's fine. I'll just be parched.
That's a good analogy. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is. That is.
Oh man.
Well, this has been a super fun episode. I think on the AI washing front, it's cool to talk through what are some of the baseline things that you need to have or questions to be asking to know if you're being AI washed or not. And you can kind of dig in a little bit deeper. But I mean, the reality is it's such a quickly evolving space. As soon as you get comfortable with
Rapidly evolving
yeah,
digital landscape, Adam. You
we've
can't
lost
escape
Zoe.
the AI
She's
language.
she's a chat
That
bot now.
that
Yes,
was the AI mad cow right there.
that
Yeah.
was.
It read itself so many times that we're in a rapid evolving digital landscape now.
That's
We
right.
are. We are. It made it happen. It manifested that for us. And I'll
Indeed.
manifest for you your nuclear reactor, David. It's going to
Sick.
happen.
Finally.
You're
And a
so
hoverboard.
on a watch list now.
Oh, 100%. Dude, I've been on the watch list forever. Are you kidding?
Now the AI is watching too,
Yeah,
so that's
right.
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, this has been fun, y'all. Thanks for the conversation again. For our listeners out there, we appreciate you so much. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I sound like my kids like 10 years ago when they were, launching their personal YouTube channels. But no, we appreciate your interaction and thank you, David and Zoe. Thanks again for the time.
Thanks so much.
Bye, guys. Thanks.
Bye.